The abandoned Volkswagen Beetle that hasn't run in almost 40 years is coming up in just a minute here, but first I've got to share some really exciting news with you. The next Vice Grip Garage vehicle giveaway is happening now through May 25th. This is the biggest giveaway I have ever done, and it's going to be really hard to top because I'm giving away my personal one-of-one custom-built square-body dually truck. Yeah, I can't believe it either. Originally built on the TV show Roadworthy Rescues, we blew it apart again and built it back even better and badder. This thing now has a brand new 8.1 liter Vortec running on Holly, backed by a built 4L80. The interior is completely decked out. Custom gauges and seats and console, and it's got ice cold air, tilt, cruise control, stereo system with subwoofer, trailer brake controller, 4 cold snack holders, you name it, it has it. The outside looked great. It had some pretty cool patina on it. I added some hand lettering on there and then sealed it all in with the Vice Grip Garage 1776 clear coat, and it looks incredible. Of course, it's scooting around on 22-inch Alcoas, and the business is in the back. A giant step notch with the help of Dave Chappelle, and it's got airbags, custom flip-over goose hitch, and yeah, this thing does tow. In fact, that's what we built it for, and it will pull what you hook on it. Speaking of which, I'm going to throw in my matching gooseneck trailer with oversized axles, and it's already set up with a winch, so you could pull your project car or truck on or equipment or however you want to use the thing. But I can't send you home with an empty trailer. So Guy's gonna go ahead and throw on a brand new Wildfire XLT 9000 4-post lift with the bridge jack. You guys have watched me use this equipment for years. It's an absolute game changer, but I'm not finished. The cherry on the top, I'm gonna throw in $20,000 as well. So you get the square body dually, the trailer, the Wildfire lift, and $20,000 cash. So all you have to do for your chance to win is go to vicegripgarage.com. That's the only website, vicegripgarage.com. Pick up any merchandise that you want, and every $5 you spend gets you 1 entry for a chance to win the truck. And there are dozens of items to choose from koozies and keychains and stickers to sunglasses and multiple different hats. There's new designs in short sleeve shirts, long sleeve shirts, flannel jackets. Don't forget all the paint products, Rebuild Black, Wipe On Clear Coat, the Shine Juice, and gift cards also count. So anything off of vicegripgarage.com, every $5 you spend gives you 1 entry for a chance to win. And again, it does end May 25th. Don't procrastinate. Go now, get the size you want, get it coming, get your entries in. I am extremely excited to see who wins this truck, trailer, lift, and cash package. I'm gonna miss it, gotta be honest, but it's going to a good home. All right, let's get into this Volkswagen Beetle thingy. Welcome back to Vice Grip Garage. You said words and I listened with my ear holes. For whatever reason, you wanted to see a guy work on a Volkswagen Beetle. Now keep in mind, I have never worked on one of these in my entire life. I've never sat in one. I have never even touched one. So I did the right thing. Jumped on the line and bought one completely sight unseen. This one hasn't ran since 1989. Has a host of issues, including 3 locked up wheels. I know absolutely nothing about it, so of course, we're gonna see if we can get it running and driving once again. It should be fine. No, this is the definition of the struggle bus. Buckle up, this is gonna be, it's gonna be something. I could not write on a piece of paper how many cars a guy has owned over the years. It's got to be over 1,000. All makes and models, American, European, you name it, but never a Beetle. They've never really been that something sparkly that I had to have. And by the way, I finally touched one. This is a 1974 Beetle. It's not a Super Beetle or the Carmen or Carmel Gahayas or whatever. I think it's just the regular Beetle. That being said, I do appreciate them. They got some engineering to them, and I am actually pretty excited to dig into this thing. But first, going to share a little bit of history about this bug with you, and it's pretty brief. I bought this from a feller who bought it from a feller. Pretty common story, right? Unfortunately, the feller got it from was in hospice and liquidating some assets, and this was one of those things. So the guy that I got it from didn't really know a lot other than the guy used to drive it around a lot and obviously cherished it, loved the thing. But it was parked, he thought in 1987, but I'm gonna say 89 because of something I found. A very, very long time ago, late 30s, 36, 37, 38, 39 years ago, this thing was parked. I have no idea why. There's obviously some sort of mechanical issue to the thing, but we're just gonna have to figure that out. So let's get ready to crack into this thing and have some fun with it. But first, we gotta hydrate. Well, it's early morning, which means it's time for me to execute the only good habit I really have, and that's drinking AG1. And thank you to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. Now, I know by now a lot of you are familiar with AG1. I've been drinking it for a long time. It's your daily drinkable source of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source ingredients. But today I want to share with you something new, and that is AG Omega-3. Did you know that most people don't have enough omega-3 in their diet, and that it's crucial for heart and brain health support? Each serving of AG Omega-3 is sustainably sourced through wild-caught small fish. This is what it looks like, and quite honestly, I just washed it down with AG1 over here. I almost forgot, I've been adding a splash of lemon juice recently just to change it up a little bit. Then all you need is 8 to 12 ounces of water, a travel pack or 1 scoop, pour it in and shake it up. Grab my AG Omega-3. For me, this is such an easy habit to drink AG1 in the morning. The improved digestion, the support my energy level gets, it's a no-brainer. Subscribe today to get a 1-month supply of AG Omega-3 with your first AG1 order. You also get their welcome kit, which has everything you need to get started on your AG1 journey. Go to drinkag1.com/vicegrip or scan that QR code. Thanks to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to this Volkswagen. So I think where we're going to start here, we'll do a quick walk around, see if we could do some, automobile archaeology. I kind of have an idea of what we should be finding, and then we'll see if we do in fact, and then we got to start throwing wrenches. Now this is a manual, it looks like, and I'm pretty sure they had an automagical as well, assuming a 3-speed. The manual's a 4-speed. They didn't have enough HPs for the 5. Now back here in the boot, we should have what they call a 1600. And the Volkswagen's already lying to you. It's 1584 cc's, not 1600, but if we're gonna convert that from IV bags to cubic inches, it's a whopping 96.6. This 4-cylinder makes less cubic inches than a 2-cylinder Harley Davidson, which will pump out, by the way, about the same horsepower as a Briggs & Stratton downhill in a windstorm. I am seeing some of the lure here. There is some pretty cool engineering here though. It's air-cooled and it's a horizontal plane engine, or opposed. And what that means is 2 cylinders are doing this and 2 are doing this, similar to what Porsche was doing back in the day. And 74 is a pretty cool year. It's the last year of the carbureted standard ignition system. In 75, they went to fuel injection on this puppy. in the Americas, and it was later adopted in other countries like Mexico and things like that. And that was due to increased pressure for emissions and efficiency, but America was the first to adopt it. It is a solid lifter pushrod engine, which gives me some hope so that a guy can figure it out. You know, anything with a pushrod, I'm your huckleberry. You know what I mean? But it looks crazy. It's air cooled as well. And this still has some sort of heat transfer thermostat-y thingy in it, and heat pipes and regulators, whatnots, cables galore. And I don't know how any of that works. But let's walk around it, drink it up, smell it in, and come up with a plan. Well, let's take a look at this thing. You know, from 27 feet, it looks pretty not so baddish as far as dents and rust and things of that nature. Got some surface rust. A little bit down here, which leads me to believe the rockers, which does this have rockers? The floor pans in there by the step things are probably rotted out. We got one big old whopper dent right here. Hip-a-ka-chow! That's a big one. Doesn't got any shine on her, so it's kind of hard to see, but that is a big wallop in that fender. And then it's got one here, right across the body line, unfortunately. A couple more over there. The roof skin's got a bunch of random dents. You can see kind of the surface rust coming in there. It's had a bunch of stuff set on the roof over the years. You can see my cats have been on it chasing mice. So I bought this car from the feller I was talking about, and I wanted to work on this in his yard, but he had to get it out right away. So I sent a couple friends of mine down with the rollback because I was scheduled up and wasn't able to do it. And they just scooped it out of that yard and slammed it right in here. Look at this. You can see the skid mark from the tires all the way out the door. So this one doesn't rotate. This one doesn't rotate. And you can see where it's been sitting for years on the bottom of those tires. And I think only this front one actually rotates. You can see that was the bottom over there. And then this one's been frozen in time, just like that. But yeah, otherwise no big, huge dents pretty much anywhere. And I don't think it's missing any of the chrome or stainless or whatever it is, other than the strip right there. Now it has been painted, and you can tell, you know, by the way that it is, basically. All the overspray around the bushings. This is just a rubber kind of gasket or insulator between the panels. That's been painted. Over here we see evidence of the same. And if we look close here, we could see primer through the chips. And then over here, we can see the original color underneath where it's been painted. So original color, primer, respray. So it's been painted once when, I don't know, okay? Early 80s. Let me smell it. Early 80 paint. Okay? Great. I'm not sure if this stuff's supposed to be floppy. Oh, there's the gas door, I guess. Don't have a key to that. It's locked. So that's a good start. All right, so as far as dates, there's a few things on here for clues. On the outside, anyway. Here's something of interest. Metropolitan Government, Nashville and Davidson County, 1987 inspection sticker. So that would lead us to believe 87 was the last time it had that thing, which I believe is no more. However, this is really cool. There's a Department of Defense registered vehicle sticker on here. Arnold Air Force, AFS, whatever that is, March of 86. But then it has an 89. But that doesn't mean it was driven in 89. And this was obviously in 86. Maybe that was an annual that expired in 87, but I'm just saying 1989 because maybe, just maybe, it was driven in 89, but that is it. There's really nothing else on the exterior that would suggest it's been driven any earlier than that whatsoever. It's got all the poverty caps on it. Little droopy in the drawers back here with the rubber or whatever that is. Mid-South Automobile Club. No idea. Used to get discounts on insurance flying all these flags. Superior, Nashville, Tennessee. Superior Volkswagen. I don't know if it's still there or not, but I would guess that is 100% original. That's where this rig came from way back in the day. I believe it's got original glass. There's some symbols on the glass, back glass, the side glasses here, the vent window glass. Not seeing it. Oh, I am seeing it. I'll take it right back. All original glass, all be dipped. Even the lenses got that hula, all the way around. So that's, I don't know, is that European? Sure. We'll say it is. What a hot rod. Supercar. And that's really it. There's not a lot to walk around on. I guess we can open the door. Oof. Oofta. Oh yeah, she's rotted. Very crunchy. Very crunchy. Oh, wow. Whew. Well, let's dig on the inside. Great. Yeah! Oh, boy. Yeah, this one is familiar. It's like a wet, heavy diaper full of centipedes with a sprinkle of barn dust and Pepto-Bismol. It's very, very weird. All right, let's dig through some stuff here. It's already been rummaged through, it looks like, but I'm hoping we can get some more information. 1985, May 19th, 1985. Looks like $1.19 for something. No idea. Here's the owner's manual. Mice have been through that. Auto bulbs. We got some sparklators. These new or used? Remember you? Oh boy. That's very used, been scraped on and everything else. We got a old wristwatch. Seen better days. Scraper? Why would you have that in Tennessee? I don't know. I was asking you. Okay, what is this thing? Bubble wand? Toothbrush holder. The old Oral-B 60. Boy, that is old. Huh. Maybe a salesman or something? How to brush his fangs on the road? I don't know. I don't know. March 30th, 1986. This is the guy. His name was Wendell. What is this? County clerk or something. Department of Revenue. Huh. Okay. Ugh. Junk mail. What is this? This is Wendell again. Auto repair shop. Something for, oh, wheel balance. 2 of them. Only 2. $10. You paid with a 20. Money bags. Zenith service parts. $2.19. Oh, a new set of point. Oh, they were new. Now they're just powder. That's pretty cool though. We'll put those back. Might use them. Not sure. Mouse droppings on everything in here. Hoofda. First American National Bank. What is this? Oh, this is when they used to run the card. You know, do that. Tires. 50,000 mile warranty, 1974 Volkswagen. That is cool. The old certificate. And that was October 14th, 1985. So all the dates are saying 85, 86, 87. Right in there. Oh, wow, got some running shoes. Well, he ran the wheels off of these things. There's no tread left. Brooks, never heard of them. No idea. Another window scraper, the other shoe. Boy, there's a lot of these gaskets laying around. What are these? Oil change gasket? Oil change gasket? Oil change gasket? I don't know. Is there a proceeds for that? Seems to be really important. Oil change gasket? I don't know. Oil change gasket? I'm not. Why is there so many of those? Okay, let's see here. Metropolitan heat bill or something. This one might be important. $922? When was this? March 28th, 1985. It says 73 blue bug, but we know it's a 74. Set main something. Rod digs. Oh, rod bearings, cam bearings. Connecting rod, 63 bucks. 8 lifters. Engine gasket set. I don't think I've ever found anything like this in a car before. 1 engine gasket set, 4 piston rings and cylinders. I'm down here. 8 push rods, 2 cylinder heads. Oil pan, rear main seal, fan belt. 2 tailpipe kit, 1 clutch cable, throttle cable. R&R engine labor, $35. Rebuild engine, 175 bucks. Line bore the block, 50. Repair something, replace throttle cable, maybe $25. 3 quarts of oil, $922. This is saying that in 1985, this engine was rebuilt by Foreign Motor Service in Tennessee. This was laying on the floor back here in that pile next to whatever that is over there. We'll go over there next. Oh, there's where the battery is. I'll be dipped. That was my next question. If this is in fact the case, this thing was parked right after this engine was built. Wouldn't that be incredible? You know, I get lucky like that all the time. No, this would in fact be a first ever in my life that I bought something sight unseen that hasn't ran in decades, that has receipts for an engine rebuild. Normally it's just, you know, marketplace makeover, Craigslist rebuild. Psst, 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 psst. This might be legit. I'm pretty excited to get in the, I almost said hood again. The rear power barn, is it an annex or shed? Lean-to? Power lean-to? I'm not sure. Let's go dig on the other floor. I don't know why the seat is cranked so forward. Do you think it was that short? It does have little running shoes over there. How do you move the seat? Seat move! Barely bolted in. Defrost and heat is back here. Pulling cables in the middle. Oh, it smells so terrible. I don't think I can flip this one. Anyway, check this out. Prestone de-icer with scraper top. Removes frost, ice, snow with clear vision. Guaranteed. That is old. There's still some in it. I'll be dipped. That's going on the shelf. That's pretty cool. Weird. I've never seen an oil change gasket for a Volkswagen before. That's what they look like. Speedometer cable. It's the Midas touch. What is this? Volkswagen Beetle. 2 front shocks, 2 rear shocks. November 27th, 1982. Old Wendell. He really loved this Beetle, didn't he? He did. I think that's the extent of it. There's some Burger King wrappers, pry bar of some kind, 42 straws. Ugh, a handkerchief, Glass Plus. Cleans glass plus more. I think he shopped at Kmart sticker. Remember them? $1.27. The old Kmarts. Okay, well, if only we had an oil change gasket, we could maybe change the oil on this thing. I don't know how to move the seat back, which means I'm never getting into this car. Oh, is this it? That's the back. Why is that so crunchy? What does this wire do? We got a mystery wire in the... What in the devil? Got a mystery wire in the center, or wires. We're probably gonna have to chase them down. Goes right to the battery, so it's hot. Got more levers down here. I don't know how to run this. It says it's got 56,541 miles. No idea. Oh, there's no key. That's really not good. That's really not good. Oh. Just a swangin'. It's got a BFF and like a sparkly lunchbox head on it. Crank up. It won't start. That's weird. Okay, I gotta get out of here for a second. Whew. Gonna make you wait a minute to open that. Look, there's one balanced tire. There is the other balanced tire. Okay, let's get in the trunk. I normally start here, but I got really confused betwixt the setup here. I like to see if there's engine parts and stuff like that in here to better prepare us for back here. It would not be unlikely that someone harvested that engine if they found that receipt. See what I'm saying? All right, let's get in here. What is this? A front hood? Is it a hunk? Shed, lean-to, I don't know. All right, here we go. Oh, that's it. Yeah! What do we got in here? Stuff. Things. Oh, what is this? Moonshine? Oh, no, it's just water. We don't need that. Boy, there's things everywhere in here. I'm not really sure how to attack this. Maybe from this side? Oh, it's sticky. It smells. I think I might get some gloves and a mask on. This is thicker than Nicki Minaj's thighs, and I ain't kidding you. 39, here we go. All right, got a mask later on, got some gloves. Wonder what Mark Chestnut's doing today. Don't really know. Ah, don't do that. Why do people do that? Mystery. These are uncomfortable masks. Also, these gloves are 2XL and they don't fit whatsoever. We'll make it work though. Some sort of label here. It's in a different language. Not really sure what that is. But anyway, we got a tire. It's round, the wheel. Got a belt or something. Original jack. That's pretty slick, huh? What is this? Oh, we got a drum with a spindle. So that's going to be a press-on, tapered axle, kind of like a Studebaker. Deal with that later. Never got brakes. Some sort of jug, septic tank, propane tank thing with a hose. Sure. Set that over there. Ooh. What? We got a brick? Sure. All right. In case we got to break a window or something. Emergency kit. Part of a panel. Another belt. Must like to throw the belts. Oh, that's pretty cool. Look at that. Brake juice. Neat old can. Antique. Also means we definitely don't have brakes. Might need that. Put that there. Power steering maybe? Nope. It doesn't have that. You kidding me? Oh, more brake juice. That's great. You know, a guy never has brakes or batteries. That's just the way it goes. Might need that. A little bit left. Whatever that is, not sure. That looks not usable. Some sort of pouch or bag. Oh, holiday season. Look at that. What's in here? A gift? Oh, trousers. Oh, it's a full suit, I think. Look at this. Paint suit size extra small. That might fit my left leg. I'll keep that. That could be usable at some point. So I think I'm just going to try to pull this whole tray with all this good stuff out. There. Oh, that's out of the way. There's the fuel tank. Good old fuel. Can this come out of here? Is there a button or a latch? Lever? Oh, you just... All right. That just comes out. Safety. Look at the crumple zone. There isn't one. Okay. There's really not a lot to this. There's just a fuel tank hanging out here. You want this bomb right on your feet. See, right here. So the fire and explosion. Wow. This thing is... It's not... Okay. Not very sturdy. You could just whirl it around, I guess. Stuff in there. Where's the brake master cylinder? There's wires and hoses, doodads galore. What is this thing? What is this? Oh, that's the reservoir, I think. Must go down into the fender well-ish area. Not really sure what's happening with that or what this does. Well, that's the speedometer cable. I think that goes to the hub, you know, because engineering, science, you want to run those like bicycle, you know. But anyway, button up here, latches on that, gas tank area. Sweet. I'll mess with this later. Maybe that's for the methanol injection or something. Awesome. Well, the moment 11 of you have been waiting for. Here we go. Yes, we've got engineage. No idea what I'm looking at. Pipes and hoses galore. Boy, it sure doesn't look brand new, rebuilt. But then again, that was 39 years ago, right? 38, 39 years ago. Fuel pump does look new. I think that's a fuel pump. I don't know. You guys get in here and you look at it. You tell me what I'm looking at in here. Digital choke? Huh. So anyway, here's the big old 1600 or whatever it is. It looks complete, obviously. Everything is here. 54,000 hoses and things, and I don't know. I think this might be a charging whirler. There's a fan somewhere behind there because it's air cooled. Got a carburetor, and again, they went to an electric pump and fuel injection in 75. So this is the last year of mechanical pump and a single barrel carburetor. We got an air box up top here with more hoses and stuff hanging off of it. This looks like a shiny bit. This looks fairly new, but there's evidence, you know, it's definitely been, look at the, you know, I don't think a lot of that's from sitting. Maybe some, but oil-soaked wires, things like that. There's not even hose clamps on. I'm not even sure which one's which. This must be from the tank, laying on exhaust parts with no clamp, and then no clamp going to a fill tray with no clamp, and then no clamp going this way. I'm assuming that goes into the fuel make it happener, which is crunchy but operates. So that's good news. Obviously it's a coil and point system here. Oh, there's some arcing or something going on in that. That doesn't look the greatest. That looks pretty new. Lots of sulfur right there. We might just try to clean that up. Otherwise, we got a brand new set in the glove box with the same amount of sulfurs on it. So this, I believe, would be the crankshaft. Cylinder heads is buried down here, and the camshaft is below that. And the valve train runs on the bottom of the engine, flat horizontally, and this is a solid lifter with adjustable valves on the side over here. So this would be a sparkulator that you can't reach, and the other one would be back there you can't reach. Huh. You just suck wind in from down there, I guess. So first thing I think we need to do, other than wrap my head around what I'm even looking at, is just see if this thing rotates. It's been sitting, call it 4 decades. Does this not, does this not go on now? I don't understand. Why is there not a notch? Oh, because that was in there. My bad, user error. Okay, we're just gonna set that back on there. We'll deal with that later. Let's get a big old wrench on this guy and just see if this thing rotates. I gotta throw it in neutralis first, and we'll see if we can get this to spin over. That's the first step. Theodore's hunting. You smell them mice? All right, watch out. That moves, that's good. I think that's neutral. Bunch of cable flopping noises. Nice. What is this? 1.25 inches. I'm sure this is all gonna be metric, right? But yeah, let me see if I got one a little smaller. Okay, 1.125 inches. Nope. Yeah, so it's probably M&Ms, but I ain't got them that big. I just don't. I guess we'll try this one. Oh, yeah. Rotates. It's like 2 pounds of compression. It's probably normal. Yeah, we got full rotation. Gets a little hard there. Right there. It does not feel that bad. Okay. Full 360-degree rotation. That is great. Let's get this air box out of the way, and we'll start some light disassembly here. I need to get my bearings. Very simple though, seems like, ish. Let's see. Apparently you can really hop these up. I don't think you're going to be jumping a Coke can, but you might be able to do highway speed. Okay. That comes out of there. Some sort of vacuum there. And another, I don't know what that is. There! Oh, it's full of, ooh, wow. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. That's got to come out. She definitely has been sitting. Wowzers. How am I going to change these sparkulators? I might have to get Bentley in here. Just scored these. I think it's a whole set of metric hollow set screw key assortment. These were jammed up in here, like in this. That was strange. Anyway, we'll take them. So look at this. Yikes. We are going to have to pull that off and go through that. We're going to have to go through ignition. We'll have to look at the fuel tank. And just kind of staring this over, there's a nut back here, but I don't even know how we're going to get to that. This one's obviously very easy. But we'll work our way through, get the fuel, make it happen or off. It's got a digital choke. There's a better look at the fuel inlet there. So it jumps from the coil to that guy, back around to that guy. Okay, we can forget that pretty easy. This thing lays across here and just shorts out on everything. It goes through there and rubs on some metal. All right. Where is the actual linkage? Is that just this rinky cable floating around for a ride down here? Maybe it is. I think I just soak that, back this out, and that just slides out. Pretty simple. Storm's really wicked up outside, but meanwhile, I've got the fuel make it happener off, and it for certain needs to be gone through. That butterfly is stuck, all sorts of corrosion. This one doesn't look that bad on the bottom. The accelerator pump, I'm trying to do all this here, it doesn't move. So that's frozen. We'll have to fix that as well. And unfortunately, it looks like it took a lot of moisture down the app. And I could see basically loose rust particles in the intake tube. So I'm gonna have to get a mouse sucker out and clean that up as well. Boy, unless you have really tiny hands, it's really hard to get this nut off the back here. You can't really fit any sort of wrench or anything in there, and everything's in the way. That was, I mean, obviously a very simple setup, but man, you gotta have not this to get that out. But we'll take this over and blow it apart. We might as well start here. We're gonna need it. See if we can get this one hopefully functioning. If I have the right kit. That screw's missing on the choke adapter. Well, when I was ordering parts for this rig, for some reason, there were 74 different fuel make it happeners and fuel pump varieties. I guess they kept changing them through the years, and you never really knew what you could. It was like a box of chocolates. Let's go back to that one. So anyway, I bought two kits here because I fully intended on rebuilding the fuel make it happener. I always go that route whenever possible. Rebuild what's there. You can't recreate this. They made this for a reason. It works great. Put it on there instead of carb swapping it. But neither one of these kits, of course, are correct. Thankfully, this time I did go for a plan B just because I saw so much variety out there. I got on the Jungle website, and for less than these two kits, got a whole new fuel make it happener, and luck would have it, let's make sure, this is the same thing. Of course, this part number doesn't even make sense. I believe since these two kits aren't fitting, this would be the Solex 34 PICT-3. Single barrel carburetor. And this one, which is egg roll something something 0522 with the side of banana pudding, seems to directly match. So we're gonna give this a shot. Bam, rebuilt, done. Everything seems to be working. Even came with the base gasket, which I wrecked putting in, and I wonder if the bolts are supposed to be on the top. Can we thread that intake and make this easier? Can't, because that one goes into there, Derek. Got it. That's why the nut's on the bottom. Well, I was trying to tell you this, but you got in such a hurry before. I didn't get in a hurry. I was just saying my hand doesn't fit. You need to learn to be more patient. That's the problem here. I don't think it's the size. It is the size of your hand, but patience. I have more patience than you can even imagine, other than for you. This does have an extra vacuum port on it right here, though. That one doesn't have. And this one too. Why do we have so many vacuum ports on this one? And one over here too. We got 3 vacuum ports in this one, only one on that. I guess we just plug them all off. Anyway, this is done. Rebuilt. All right, so let's set this aside. We got to run a mouse sucker on the intake tube because remember I discovered a bunch of gunk in the intake and we don't want to spin this thing over and suck that into the cylinders. Then we can move on to the ignition system. System. So it certainly looks like we've got all the loose bits. Yeah, that stuff is pretty well just in the metal at that point. So that's clean. I'm glad I got that out so that didn't fall into the cylinders, which we're gonna have to try to wrestle out some sparkulators next. I gotta pick up smaller clampies next time I run into the store, which might be late tonight or early tomorrow. Well, I think now that we have a possible resolution for the fuel make it happener, let's just keep trudging down the fuel system lane for a minute here. I want to take a look at this fuel tank just in case we got to pull this out and start cleaning it. We can have that, you know, soaking in the background, so to speak, whilst doing other things. So I think what I'm going to do is just take the sending unit out, and then we can try to jam our eyeball in there and scan our peepers around. And if not, we can dip the camera in there and see how bad it is. Is it feasible to use it the way it is? Or are we gonna have to do some cleaning? So let's take that out next, check it out. All right. Didn't know which flavor it needed, so I brought both. If we're really, really lucky, somehow, some way, this isn't just completely full of rust in here. But let's be honest, we're probably going to be figuring out how to take this thing out and doing the old shaky. Trying to clean it up best we can. Really excited to get to the brake system on this. I'm assuming it's probably like a go-kart. Master cylinder's probably hooked right behind the pedal. I don't know. I haven't even looked at it. Where does this jug go? So weird. Three kids, that's what you get. The mice smell is just so thick. It's making my eyes water, sneeze. Oof, the smell of varnished fuel just got hot and heavy over here. We broke the seal. There's no rust. Maybe we could just pump the old fuel out. Put new fuel in. Can't be that lucky. Yep. Come on now. Get on out of there, you little stinker. Okay. Stuff is happening. I'm not sure what. Ooh. That's not looking good. Well, judging by the maple syrup line, I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's fine. Let me get the camera in there. I can't really see much. Let's go for a dip. Ouch, there's a hood there. All right, let's go for a dip. And, oh. Yeah, that's what I expected. Oofta. Ish. Ishy. That must be the vent tube. Yeah, there's a bunch of debris. Tank's got to come out. Great. Grand. Ouch, there's a hood there. Well, we got the filler neck stuff, of course. That thingy, sure. It looks like 4 bolts is all that's holding us in. There, here, there. Same on the top. Some little venti doodapper, and then I'm assuming there's a suckalizer rod or something underneath, but I don't want to lay under it. There's a brick in my way. So I'm going to try to unbolt everything, peel this thing up, and then see if we can disconnect the fuel line. I don't think there's a return on this. Looking at the back of the engine, right? Correct. Fuel in, pumpalizer, fuel out. Okay. Okay, start by getting these clampulators out of here. Clean juice. I don't know which one of these is going to come loose, so we'll probably try a mixture of them. There we go. Boy, my back is already barking, leaning over this little thing. So I got the back end up on jack stands. Guy doesn't have to touch his toes to reach anything. What's the secret here? I think maybe you take all of them loose, and then you can wrestle them around a little bit. Okay. Sure. I got some movage. Well, don't you want to come off of here? Oh, wow. That just poured out rust and junk. Okay, we'll put that on the list of maybe look at that a little later. Oh, that would be a good time to drill that lock out in here. Because remember, we ain't got a key for that either. Okay, I'm going to take this out while I'm standing here. Yep. Yup. Yup. Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, I think we can start prying on this and maybe liquor with the Tanya Harding. I don't know. Boy, this is tiny. What is this, 9 gallons? 10 gallons? It has kind of a suitcase shape. Okay, I'm assuming that's the fuel line. Yes. Okay, it's kind of a sump setup. Just like a little pond in the bottom with a fuel line and no clamp. You know, they don't like clamps at the Volkswagen factory, apparently. Oh. Okay then. Oh, there's the brake master cylinder and some go-kart steering apparatuses and a ground wire hooked to the steering shaft. All right. Let me see. How do I live with that? No, that was when I was. Let's see if I can. I need a propylator. How about this over here? Perfect. Now, I see that went to there with no clamp. All right. Interesting how these were built. Very interesting. All right. I think since that just ripped off down there, a guy can just pull this out now. Yep. There we go. Discoveries. Oh, that's too bad. This is rotted right there. Underneath, and kind of a poor design. Think of all the snow and stuff and dirt and mud that just gets thrown in here. It sits in this basket. There's the brake master cylindre. I'm not going to be able to get my hands in there. Perfect. I am going to start juicing. This line, that line, that line, that bolt, and that bolt, which do come from the inside. These little hoses run up to the reservoir up there. This is interesting. Looks like they're just bonding this part of the shaft to this part of the shaft. That's just a collapsible joint there. Pretty straightforward, simple. Not a lot going on in here. This is where the fuel line goes. Sure. There was no clamp or anything on that either. Here's all the stuff that's coming out of there. We're going to have to clean that as well. And then over on this side, just have this little sump area. I think I'm going to pull this off and just see if that's plugged up. But you can hear the stuff floating around in there. Yeesh. Yucky. Yeshy. Don't get the right wrench. Just get a vice grip. Hitza! Ooh. Hitza! Wow. Wow. Why is this? Okay. I don't want to rewind the world clock. So, are we going to leave this on here so we don't break the... Yep, so that's going to stay on there, I believe. That seems fine. There's no reason to take that off. It might not be plugged-ish. It's plugged. Okay, so we'll deal with that when the time comes, which is right now. We're going to have to set this up to where we can clean this tank, but we can't have all of our fluids leaving us. Yeah, this would have never worked anyway. This is just plugged solid with varnish. Let me get the air hose, see what happens. All right, let's see if 170 PSI will make her move. There we go. The tank is expanding. Oh, there's still a plug in there. Well, we'll just have to work on this for a bit. Might actually be a good thing it's plugged right now. All right. It's in my retina. Anywho, guy's gonna run to town, and I need to get some pluggy out for stoppers. I need to get some sort of plug for this, hopefully, and some chemicals to start cleaning this tank out. We're gonna let, the plan worked. We're gonna let this soak and sit off to the side while we monkey around with other stuff on the vehicle. Help me get up. Help me. Oh, oh, whew. Eviction notice. Here I am. I'm back again. Ran to town. So I found some stuff. It's not this, although I have used this a lot. This is a CLR, calcium, lime, and rust remover. Throw this in the tank, whatever you want. Marbles are easy to get out if you don't have things like magnets on sticks, stuff like that. Otherwise, if you got a bucket of miscellaneous hardware, you know, nuts and bolts and sharp edge stuff, throw it in the tank, shake it around, stick a magnet in, fish it all out. you'll be right as rain. But I went to the Hardmore store, and I don't know what happened, if their boat sank on the way over or what, but a gallon of this now is $33.49. Nope, that's like a gallon of gas in California, I learned. Not doing that. So I walked up and down the aisles until I found something with a skull and crossbones on it that says, poison. Causes your skin to fall off, severe burns, harmful if you touch it, breathe it, look at it, causes blindness. Yeah. It's a muriatic acid. This was $13 a gallon. And I figure with a few gallons of that, we could fill this up. Here's the whole thing, fellers. If I'm going to spend $150 on chemicals, why would we not just buy a new tank, right? So I'm always keeping that in the back of my head. A couple gallons of this, we could bring this thing around and save a few dollars. It's going to cost a little bit of labor. But let me cap this off. We're going to go out back. We're going to full PPE up. We're going to need a rubber gown, gloves, glasses, respirator, everything like that. We got to follow all the stuff on that. We got to be super careful. This is an acid now we're talking about. But if we could fill this tank up, let it sit, we could get that rust out fairly quick, throw it back in, boom, save a bunch of money. So let me plug this off. I don't think we're going to have to plug that off. We might fill it from there, actually, standing up maybe even. And we'll see if we can get this cleaned up. Help! Someone help me. Ow! Help me up. Somebody. Ouch! Rolled my ankle. Okay, behind the shop here, this drainage ditch runs into my well. So this is where I like to clean stuff, put all the chemicals and whatnot. So we're gonna crack this acid open. Oh wow, it ate the lid away. Okay. And I got all the PPE on. We're gonna dump this in here. I think we're gonna go 1 to 1. I got enough gallons. If I mix it 1 to 1, we should be able to fill this thing right to the brim. And we're gonna let it sit and eat, probably overnight, actually. And then we'll come back and flush it out with baking soda, which will deactivate this acid. Well, according to the constructions anyway, which I kind of just glanced over. Don't touch, wear a mask. Don't put it in your chewing gum. Well, yeah. Anyway, I got 4 more of these, and then I'm gonna fill these with water and dump those in. I'm guessing this is a 9 to 10 gallon unit. It should be about perfect. So I'm gonna get that done quick, and then we'll head back inside. Ouch! Oh, help me. Ah, someone help me. The stuff is pretty serious. Look where I spilt on top of the fuel tank. It's already just bare metal. Pretty wild. So hopefully we get the same result on the inside of the tank. We've got 1 more gallon to pour in here, and then we're gonna dilute it with water. Oh wow, foamy moat. The best solution for pollution is dilution. There we go, yeah. All right. Just gonna fill this up with water basically at this point. Well, that's really foaming. Huh. It looks drinkable. Well, maybe not. I don't know. It depends on the day. Well, I got bad news. And it's going to shut us down for a little bit. Fuel tank is shot. I mean, it could hold a gallon, but I don't know. The smoky acid kind of gives it away. This was fragile enough to where the acid mix just ate right through the wall. You can see how well it cleaned up the top. I think it's a good process, but we didn't have the tank to hold it in. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to try to shop for one of these, try to find one, and replace it after all. I've got 40, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12. I got $52 in acid down the drain. Just to figure that out. But that's the way she goes sometimes, you know. What are you gonna do? Okay, so here's where we're at. Fuel tank bad. Fuel sending unit bad. Fuel lines bad. Fuel make it happen are bad. We got some sort of shiny thing off the interwebs to put in its place, but that wouldn't make sense right now because there's nothing to feed it. So let's just pretend we're going to try to do something and work on the ignition, which I have no idea how to do. We're going to try to figure out how to put this thing on top dead center. Every engine has one of those. There's got to be a mark or identifier or something. So let's figure that out, figure out the firing order. We'll take the ignition system completely apart. Lightning whirler cap, rotor button, points, lightning hoses, sparkulators, all of that's got to come out. Let's inspect it, figure out what it is, figure out how to put it back. We might even juice the cylinders and set the points gap, all of that, probably even put in a lightning cube, check our spark, and if all goes well, ignition will be done, and then I have to wait 74 days for a fuel tank for this puppy. Maybe we try to rig up some sort of IV bag or bottle feeder or something, which is probably what's going to happen. Try to fire this thing beforehand, but let's go ahead and start digging into this. This is going to be interesting. My mitts are bigger than this whole boot. Great. Yeah. Well, we've got our basic pulley here. There's got to be some sort of identification on this thing. So I'm going to get out that big wrench dressing again, spin this thing over. I'm assuming there's no tab or wing hanging off, but we've got this thing. It's not really a block. By the way, these are two halves that are so perfectly machined, they're just pressed together. There's no big gasket or seal or anything like that. And if one side gets ruined, you have to replace the other side because they're machined as a pair. Anywho's, so we're going to have to figure out where that mark is. So I'm going to get a cheek poker, big wrench, and then we're going to figure out where allegedly the number 1 is. It's, you know, I don't know. We're just kind of making it up as we go here. Again, it's a push rod engine. We'll figure it out. And once we can get that rotor figured out, we can figure out firing order, and then we'll tear everything apart. I don't want to tear into this until we figure out how the thing operates, what the firing order is, the rotation of the lightning whirler here, and all of that stuff. All right, let's see. Oh, here we go. There's a bunch of notches. I don't know what they mean. Or is that just rust? Oh, that's just rust. Okay, here's something. Why is there 3 back there and there's 3 in the front? Does this line up to anything? So I'm putting the cap back on, just seeing, does this even do anything to the stuff that's related to the thing? Okay, I got one over here. Yeah, that's pretty close. Okay, so what happens if I go this way? Wrong way. Way wrong way. What happens if I go this way? Huh, that's not right either. 'Tis confusion! All right, I'm gonna hit this with the cheek poker. None of this is lining up. Nothing's making sense. That's in between two posts on the cap. Maybe that's not the thing, but that wouldn't make sense. And the inside of the pulley has gaps, are grooves, and so does the outside, but neither one line up to the rotor. Volkswagen life. Sweet. What am I looking at? Okay, I got some markage, but what does that mean? No numbers. They just assume, I guess. Everyone knows what's happening. All right, which way does this turn? Turns up. I mean, that can't be right. That's halfway between the posts on the cap, so that's not firing into anything. There's more numbers or slats here. Okay, that one, by golly, that is almost at this guy. Okay, can I clean that up to where you could see it? That looks like they made it. That doesn't look like a factory. Did they put the pulley on wrong after this was rebuilt? That doesn't seem right. Let me come over here and just look, because I'm talking to you, and you're laying on the couch, and you're not looking, so it's hard for me to come over here and look, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Does this have battery? Oh, it does. So what I'm looking at here, we've got 3 slashes in here, right? Yep. And I'm trying to correlate, I'm assuming this has to be some sort of indicator on timing, because there's no other tab or anything like that. That just says Zandvogelj. Now, being this is a 4-cylinder, it most likely has to be a firing order of 1432, and that is with any 4-cylinder on the planet. That's just because of rotational mass and how camshafts and crankshafts are designed. But I need to find top dead center, which is where the number 1 cylinder or piston is firing in relation to the crankshaft. So I've kind of been rolling this over. Look at this. We've got marks out here. But if I put this cap on, and we can generally just, we'll spitball. This standoff here is one, and this screw is another post where it would be firing on a cylinder, right? So we pull this off, that's in betwixt. And if I roll it over, it's still not lining up. If I go to, went past it, this guy, it's pretty darn close to this guy over here, right? So if I put this there, and I don't know if that's top dead center and 8 degrees and 12 degrees. These two are close, so I'm assuming they're obviously shorter degree. This still is not. We're like here-ish. And the cap is more like here. See that? And it has to be before. It's not going to fire that far after. We have to assume first mark right around here-ish is going to be number 1. So let me bring this around. Well, that's pretty loose. See that? What's kind of concerning about that is in order for this engine to operate correctly, the camshaft and crankshaft have to be gear operated. So there should be no slop between the crankshaft itself and the camshaft. When the camshaft just physically and scientifically has to be below the crankshaft. So that slop I'm feeling is kind of concerning, actually. Maybe that's normal. Maybe Volkswagen liked 74 thousandths of clearance. But anyway, we can assume this is number 1 based on that, which in my opinion doesn't seem right. I would feel more comfortable just based on how this is set up if number 1 was over here. But we're not going to get that. I do not believe. So now we have to figure out if we're going to call this 1. That's this one right here. Right? That comes up to here. That goes to here. And we can start figuring out our 1, 4, 3, 2 firing order. Let's see. 1. We said this was 4. This would be in the back. 4. 3. Yep, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's pretty simple. So now we can start tearing into this. We've identified our firing order and rotation. I'm not very happy with how that is set up, but apparently it's ran like that. Yeah. Well, the plot thickens. I realized that I don't actually know until I hit the key which way this engine rotates, and I'm assuming it goes clockwise, which 97.364% of engines do. But I thought I'd get on the line and ask Jeeves, and sure enough, that's the way it goes, and that is the firing order. However, the internet says that this right here is number 1. And this is the timing tab. We don't have that. It also says that, obviously, this needs to be the number 1 cylinder. That's not the case. That's number 4. 1 is back here, which is this guy. So everything is wrong. This is not how it should be. Someone was either heavily monkeying in here or just making it happener, which I probably worked on this. I just don't remember that particular moment in my life. So now I've got to figure out, if I roll this engine over 180 degrees, does this rotor in fact point over here? And if it lines up with the number 1 in the incorrect position, maybe we're fine. As long as it's 1, 4, 3, 2, I got to follow all of that out, and then we'll tear into it. I'm just trying to make sure before I make any big changes here, where we're at, understand what we're doing and why, and then we'll rip into it. Then it doesn't matter where everything goes back. If I strip everything down and then just assume this is number 1, well, you know what assume spells. Yep. Tacos without onions. not good. I feel like I'm working on a V-twin Briggs & Stratton, quite honestly. Ah, look at here. So 180 out to where we were. It's still not. I'm still not liking it. I wonder if this is why this was parked. Did it ever run? Because nothing is making sense. Timing mark to rotor button to firing order, none of this is making sense. So we've got a receipt that allegedly engine work was done. We've got receipts that had tires on it and stuff like that. And then we know that this thing was immediately parked. So something's going on, right? Well, this is going to sound weird and odd, but I think we're going to go ahead and remove this distributor because it's not correct. And it's hurting my brain because we are diving into something I haven't touched, and I just want it to be the way that it should be when it was the way it was originally and when it was the way it was supposed to be. Yeah. So I'm going to pull this lightning wether out, and I'm assuming there's a shaft in here, obviously, and being that it's sitting on top of the crankshaft, it's got to run by a gear. I don't know. It's not going to run by a bump shaft like a small block Chevy or big block Chevy or something like that. And we might have to rotate that shaft, and I'm assuming there's a boss of some kind. Yada yada, blah blah blah. But I want to get the rotor button pointed in the right direction at the correct timing mark so we could just start over. Maybe this engine ran that way, not really sure. Whoever put it together, European supercars in Nashville back in 1985, sweet. You did what you had to do on a Friday. I respect that. But let's just get it back. So looks like there's a slip collar on it, kind of like the old Chevy stove bolts. Probably a 13 millimeter because everything is M&M Ying Pow on this. And let's pop this puppy out, take a gander at it, hook our peepers in. We'll probably go ahead and throw new points in it while it's out because we can scan our peepers right on it, you know, and then we'll drop it back in. Hopefully in the right orientation. I got the hiccups. I know you do. And I think there's 3 marks. We're going in the middle. That's our aimage, right in the middle. All right, we're gonna dip the wrench to the block here. Oh, 13, weird. Didn't expect that. Let's just get this out of the way. Okay. These were designed in the late 30s, 1938, 1939, but production was obviously halted because of the World War, and they didn't really kick into mass production until 1945. And I believe these were produced until like 2003-ish. They had a good run. And that's when they got weird. They had flowers hanging off the dash and some other stuff. Well, help me understand this now. There we go. And Yep. Slash that's going to be, it's not even going to be 180 out, but there's going to be a pump shaft in here. Or not necessarily a pump shaft, but a distributor shaft. There it is right there. So we've got to get that up and change the ligament of that. While this is out, good opportunity for me to get in here and clean a little bit. I'll probably just stick my thumb in here, hit this with air, clean that up, and then see if we can get this lined up appropriately. That's cool. Old original stamping, something? I don't know. So I've got this pulled out of here, and just looking at this, this was set about over here, which is in between two posts. And I feel like Volkswagen is using kind of just existing stuff here, obvious stuff, like this tab off of the left half of the crank, or the, crankcase block, essentially. So I feel like this should be right here, which is, if it's hard to explain, but when I rotate this over, it's off of the cam. Here's a high point, low point, right there. It's starting to lift. Watch the points. Open, close, open. Right here, it's about to open. To me, this would be the ideal #1 spot. The problem is the shaft that connects the distributor to the crankshaft is not in the right position. Whoops, I got the screw pulled out of here. So, we've got to get this out of there. I'm going to try a big measurement. I don't know if I still have one, but we're going to try it. Otherwise, vice grips, 14-pound sledge, tire iron. I got a couple jacks and a torch. That might work. Well, cancel that. Ran a few magnets, basically the biggest stuff I have in there. Try to clamp it and all sorts of stuff to pull that drive shaft for that distributor out. And then started nosing around and figured out that the fuel pump push rod is probably resting on some sort of cam that also runs the distributor. Terrible, terrible design. So then I researched it, Google webbed it, and sure enough, not only that, but there are spacers or washers, depending on each in particular engine, that are built into that shaft. So basically you're setting the lash on the crank cam gear and the distributor drive gear with all these washers. So you can't just yak it out sitting here like this. There's washers in there, spacers, everything is machined to fit correctly, and it's a whole nightmare. So that would explain why whoever built this or rebuilt this, allegedly, whatever it is and wherever it lived, that's how it lived and that's what it did. Period. So unfortunately, I'm just going to have to put this back. And doubly unfortunately, I didn't mark anything because I just assumed that I was going to try to do it correctly for once in my life. And we lost that orientation. So now we're just really starting from scratch on this whole thing. And we're in the thick of it. We've changed ignition timing. It is not correct by any sort of means by the book. Our fuel system is torn apart. Somehow there's 54,000 hoses and doodads and whatnots. I don't understand how there's so many wires on this thing because there's nothing here. What is that thing? It's a honeycomb. We don't know at this juncture. I'm just starting to put stuff back. Oh wait, let's put points in it first though at least. Should we fix this up? Let's doll this up. Let's doll this up. Let's doll this up. Run it through the cheek poker, clean it up, put points in it, squirt some juice on it. That seems fine, nope. And then we'll put her back in. Hey, we'll have done something so far. I don't understand why I don't own 40 of these. They're so cool. They're really, really neat vehicles. I should just be stacking them. All right, so I got this tune-up kit. Sure. And in that was a hot-rodded white stripe points kit. No idea what that means, sure. And then this thing, and this wire is this guy, the curlicue, that just runs right up here to the lightning coil. We're going to go ahead and replace that as well. I have no idea if the old one works or not. Let's just assume it doesn't. It's been sitting for 40 years, right? So, with that, so I've got to get in here. We've got a new rotor button. It looks like, is this a pivot mount? It is. So you've got a pivot right here, and then you've got a screw, and this will essentially rotate like this, and that's how you could set your gap. So all we got to do is get in here, and pull this out, which this one's been about stripped out of it. It's had points so many times. Not always high mileage, fellers. Back in the day, you'd go to the beach with this thing, do some surfing and whatnot. You'd have the key turned forward, radio cranked, you're jamming out to the Beach Boys or whatever, cliche music. But if your ignition is in the wrong position when you shut that engine off, you're cooking your points in coil. And a lot of these prematurely went through ignition parts back in the day. Now you know. Now you know. I'll show you here in a second. Well, let's do this. See how clean this is? There's no disc or rim. There's no outline or like inner circle of either pad. Nice clean points, contacts, whatever you want to call them. These look fairly good shape, and the cam, which is this plastic piece right here where my thumbnail is, I'm calling that a cam or a bump, and that bumps along this right here, which, good time to show you this. See how that has a shape on it? It's just like a camshaft in an engine. Where there's a rise, or think of it like a thumb hitchhiking, that is going to push against this, which is going to open and close, or basically disrupt and connect that connection. Now on this one, you can see that corrosion in there? Maybe, I'm sorry if you can't. And also that rim I was talking about. You can see a defined shape in there, a circular shape. And that's wear and tear and use and whatnot and things and such. Thank you for your service. You can go over there. We'll drop the new one in here. Oh no. Oh, that's your bad. Come on now. Get in there. Get in there. Well, we kind of started going down this road, so I wanted to show you guys this, because this is often misunderstood, and understandably, it's fairly complex. See this turning? That's your distributor cam, and it's not even touching the points. So if I were to bring the points closer, I can't with my fingernail. Get in there. Move. Way too much. Now, I just moved that in. Now when I rotate this, see it moving in and out? Here's the problem. When that goes in, it's actually not making contact. It's too wide. That's called a wide gap. So we move this in this way. Too far again. 3 kids, that's what you get. Snug this. There we go. That looks pretty good. Open. Close. Open. Close. About a business card. Right there. And if you get her dialed in, you guys have seen me do this hundreds and hundreds of times. You don't need a dwell meter. You don't need fancy stuff. You don't need this and that. If this sparks, spark, when you have the ignition system turned on and the coils hooked up and everything, you've got about the right darn gap in there. It's doing what it should do. It's close enough where it's jumping. It's arcing. And that is about where we're going to start. Hey, we'll make adjustments if we need to. But new points installed. This apparently just hangs out this window loosey-goosey. And then we're going to plug it into this weird thing that hangs in here that just gets jammed in with a screw. And then you hope that nothing arcs out or touches because Volkswagen. Cool. So I was just cleaning this up with the cheek poker here and got the chuckling. Cleaning, hit my finger a couple times. And then I noticed this. Someone just torquilized the bejesus out of this. And then I'm convinced. I worked on this. I don't know when it was, but clearly 700 foot-pounds and something that needed 17 inch-pounds. That was me. By the way, this is the original distributor. That's pretty cool, right? Right? Sure. So a guy's been monkeying around with this. I've got this all installed, put together here. And I started looking at the timing plate in here. And it's kind of hard to see, but there's a plate on top of a plate, and that is the vacuum advance. So in this canister is a diaphragm, and this runs on engine or crankcase vacuum off of the engine over there. And depending on the vacuum of the engine, this plate will pull, or this lever, and that's going to add vacuum advance. And I started looking at this very primitive design in here, and it's very likely that these two would be seized together, and in fact they were. So I found this little notch up in here by my thumbnail. You can see there's a shiny bit in there. And I stuck the old leather person in there and gave her a twist and started working this back and forth. And I'm like, I got to put some juice in here, some dry silicone or something. and get this plate moving back and forth. Otherwise, we're going to have no vacuum advance, which I think is going to be paramount for this little tiny engine here. Timing is everything. And there's no mechanical advance. It's a rotor button right on top of here. There's no springs, there's no arms. Vacuum is everything. So I got to make sure that this isn't locked out. So that's what I'm going to work on next. Spray some juice in here, rotate this back and forth, make sure this moves, everything's hunky-dory. It looks like this gets its oil right there through some sort of oil galley down there. You can kind of see behind that green wire. And that's what lubricates the shaft itself, but there's no oil up here. So gonna work on this for a few minutes before I stab it back in. Why not? It's a good opportunity. Plus, we're covered by AAA. No, we're really not. Pretty sure if I called AAA, they would just, hang up on me. I should maybe create like Junk Club America, where if you call and you're just like, hey, that's all you got to say. And we're like, all right, we're on the way, roll back. You don't have to explain. We know, we get it, we understand. Hang tight, we're coming. Write that down. No, we definitely go out of business with you. Great. All right, got the lightning whirler here. We're going to try some industrial strength silicone because I think I can lubricate dry and not affect my electrical contacts. I'm trying to get in here and pivot this without breaking any. There it goes. Hear that? Oh, yeah, no, she's leaking. All right. All right, we got it broke free. So I'm going to work this for a while. I'm going to hit it again, and then I'm just going to hold this upside down. And if there's any, metallic parts, bits, corrosion, rust, it'll hopefully run out with it. And then we can be pretty confident. I fibbed to you. I might do it 3 times. We could be really confident. See, that's not, it's discolored running out of here. That this is going to work. There we go. I'm liking that. Right here on the bottom. Just give her a little twist, little rotate, boom. Maybe that's what it needs. I don't know. Boom, boom, right here. Happy little distributor. Look at it. Look at it rotating. There we go. Okay, now we're ready. Well, let me get a grease rag. We'll wipe it down just a touch. And then we're ready to jam her right back in. Well, apparently I'm out of Scott's rag, so we're using this really nice Grios tagless rag. Great. Wipe this thing down. Also, this O-ring has got some silicone on it now, so when we jam this back in, we're not damaging that because that is essentially the gasket from any oil coming and seeping out. Now on your standard Chevrolet engine, right, you're going to have a donut gasket in here. Or, well, most V8s, your O-ring, but this has this ring on here. Sure, I get it. I understand. So let's drop this in. Actually, I shouldn't say all Chevrolets. The straights have the same design. There we go. Now, are we 180 off? I think we are. Yep. So we're going to pull this up. We're going to spin this around. We're going to drop it back in. never a tickle with a small tool. Okay. No. No, that doesn't seem right yet. Why? Is this real life? 'Cause it's a bug life. It makes total sense. No. Well, that's where it was, so sure. Oh, got a wire stuck in there. How about now? Oh, that's better. Turns out if this isn't in the way, get out of there. Okay. I think this plugs into there. Sure. I don't need that. I'm gonna put this one in there. We got a new rotor in ours. Oh wait, that's way different. After these messages, we'll be right back. So these are in fact not even anything like each other. Width, length, material construction, color, end tip, any of that. So I'm going to put this one on here anyway. Okay. Oh, that was way too hard. All right, let's bolt this in before I lose this hardware, which I can't even reach because who can, by the way. Okay. And then we are nowhere better than where we were, what, 17 hours ago? What did we do? We took a gas tank out, blew it up with acid, took apart a ignition system, thought we'd make it better and barely did anything. And we took a carb off. I think we're doing pretty good. You know? It's kind of like, well, I shouldn't say it. It's kind of like something monkey garage. Okay. Except this is going to run when we're done. Oh no, I'm running over my ignition kit. Okay, all this is back together. I mean, temporarily. We're going to replace all this stuff. But again, just trying to lock this in. We have to understand where we were before we try to decide where we're going. Right? Someone said that. I don't know. He probably had a buffalo rug and a 30-30. But here we go. So this guy right here, that's our number one. And this feller goes back there. And we know for certain that's our firing order. So 1, 4, 3, 2, right? 2. So we're just going to follow that around and make sure, doubly checky, and then we can tear this apart. And I'm going to make a mark right here on the actual distributor. We're not going to forget this because it's on the 1 o'clock side of the clip right here. But just in case we got to walk away from this, the phone rings 42 times, I leave town for 72 months, the usual stuff. We come back, we're not going to have to redo all of this. We know exactly where all of this lines up. Right there. Where are we at here? Guy's been throwing wrenches for a few minutes. Let's see. We determined the Volkswagen hasn't run in pretty near 4 decades, 40 years. 3 tires are locked up, maybe a 4th. I don't know yet. Brakes is bad. That's weird. Never got them. Battery's down. Fuel tank shot. Fuel sending unit's bad. Fuel lines are plugged. Carburetor's bad. Yank that off of there. Pulled the lightning whirler because it was wrong. Only to jam it back in the same wrong spot. But we added points. Okay, and listen, all said and done, I think we made progress. You just got to keep the feet moving or you're not going to get anywhere with your project. Speaking of getting somewhere, I'm going to go lay down and count fence posts or whatever you're supposed to do. It's been a day. But don't worry, we'll be back on this Beetle faster than you think, and we will get it running and driving. You can write that down and take it to the credit union. I don't care. And just a reminder, the giveaway is going on right now, this very minute, through May 25th. Do not procrastinate. Get over to vicegripgarage.com. Snag yourself up anything that you want. Like I said, there's dozens and dozens of different items and new designs and things like that. And every $5 you spend gets you 1 entry for a chance to win that beautiful square body dually truck, the matching trailer, the brand new Wildfire lift, and $20,000. And as usual, no purchase necessary, and all of the small print is also over there at vicegripgarage.com. And just a reminder, be careful. That is the only merchandise website we have. You will not find merchandise anywhere else. It's only vicegripgarage.com. Thanks, guys, for watching so very much. I appreciate all of you. Remember to hit that subscribe button and that notification button, and you'll see we'll be back on this Beetle very, very soon. See you later.